And that's it, we're live. I'll give you guys a few minutes to come into the chat room, and we'll set ourselves up here. Sven and I are hosting the show tonight in the absence of Roxanne and Jason, who I believe is going to be in the chat room. We'll just give it a few minutes. Sven is just busy attending to some last minute administration. We've been driving only a half hour actually out of Bordeaux. We were lucky enough to meet a lovely couple this evening by the name of Lucy and John, who did their first street activism. It was quite special to watch. I wonder how the audio is. Let's see, we got this straightened up.
Right, so
You almost ready there, mate?
I'm ready, mate. Go
turn
for
your
it.
torch off.
I'm turning it off right
Thanks.
now.
So the spotlight is
There we go.
unnecessary.
Go on.
Wow. Well, welcome everyone. This is a bit of a first for me, given the privilege of anchoring tonight's show on behalf of Roxanne and Jason. We had a fairly long day today in Bordeaux.
We did.
Initially, we set up for the cathedral. Well, we were parked next to near a really impressive building. We thought we'd set up there at this market, but this morning we found it wasn't really the right place for us. So
Yeah.
we went to the place that Jason had set out, which was a cathedral, the main cathedral, Saint Andre, their main cathedral here, and again an absolutely staggering piece of architecture and building. But again, it was too quiet. It wasn't the right place. So Jack scoped out a really good spot on one of the busier kind of roads, or
That's right,
narrow roads. So we set up there. Got caught out with a bit of rain. We got caught out with a little bit of lost in translation. But we had this French-speaking English couple come and join us for a while. Well, the whole day actually.
The whole day, yeah. Their first time as well.
First timers, and they were excellent. It was awesome to have them on board. And they were just regular people like us, who've over the last few years not only realized the truth, but realized that they need to be contributing in some way to spreading this information. So it was wonderful to meet them. I toast their commitment. They came 250 Ks.
Yeah, they did. They had a 3.5 hour drive or something like that, 4 hours.
They thought they'd make a weekend of it, have a little bit of a break and come and spend a few nights in Bordeaux, and thank goodness we were able to turn up as and when we'd said, and they were able to meet up with us. Took them a little while, but they found us, and it was great to have some French speakers along.
Yeah.
How did you find it today, Sven?
I found it was intense at times, but also when we were engaging in conversations, apart from once or twice, we could get into the conversation quite well. You had the usual, you know what I mean? But a surprisingly large amount of young people who came up to us asking serious questions, and not, well, how do you explain this then, or whatever, none of that funny business. It was actually quite refreshing to see. And from all different countries as well, one of them was studying over here to learn French and all that from Colombia. And she was really up for it, she spent about 20 minutes there, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was the two ladies of African descent who were there, who came, the young ladies, one with the glasses. And they came back to me and started asking me questions. We started chatting, it was good. Took flyers and all that, and and we dished out over 1,000 flyers today.
Yeah, it was a good day for the flyer.
Good day.
Yeah.
Lots of interaction though, good stuff.
Yeah, not such a good day for the chalk. I laid some chalk down on the streets, and it wasn't coming up very strong because of the pink stone they use there.
Right.
But within about 10 minutes of finishing all my chalk work, the rain, heavens opened up and washed the the roads clean in minutes,
Absolutely.
in seconds.
In seconds.
So all of that was for nothing. But a lot of people took flyers. Actually, it was interesting because in some places people just ignore you completely and they don't want to touch the flyers. Where was it yesterday? Well, no, it couldn't have been yesterday. The last time we were doing activism, it just felt like people were willing to walk past the flyers. But today they were happy to take them.
Yeah, they were happy to take them. I mean, and we didn't just give them to anybody. People who looked sort of vaguely interested, wasn't it? It was like Jack was saying, he didn't just go around there, I'll take some flyers and that's it. But it was good though. And there were often people stood there taking photos, didn't want a flyer, but took photographs of it. Now, whether they were going to use that to have fun with or pretend to have fun with, but in actual fact look at a bit more closely, we don't know, but
Well, I had this great interaction with these 3 young guys. They couldn't have been 18, maybe 16 years old. And they came in with like quite a snigger on about, the flat earth thing. But they left seriously shaking my hand going, thank you very much. You've given us something really to think about. And, it can be life-changing. And it felt like a bit of a life-changing moment interacting with these guys in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the treats for me of the day was that. And then there were a few others, fantastic, conversations with young people, and some of them I caught on camera, and some of them I didn't. So if you've had chance to, not had chance to catch up with some of that, I recommend it. To be honest,
Absolutely.
Some good, healthy, hearty conversation.
Yeah, and it's a shame we couldn't do it with the little prelude from James, but because of us doing this as we're doing it this evening, but there would have been some nice good shots on there, and I think hopefully we'll have that for tomorrow or. It'd be nice to see because there was lots of interaction. I mean, at one stage there were about 10 or 12 people stood there. Little groups of people, and they were all engaging correctly. It wasn't there was nothing silly about it. Or it was. I thought it was one of the better days that I've had since I've been on the tour.
Okay.
I've got to say, probably the best day. But I mean, my feelings about Bordeaux.
You got a bit of a love affair with Bordeaux.
It's a lovely place.
We sort of fitted into the groove quite well. We ended up parking, as I said, right on in the city through the night. So it was a bit rowdy this morning as the city got moving.
Yes, it was.
And the market got rumbling. But a very special place. These buildings are from a different time. They are definitely part of our hidden history.
Absolutely. There's a lot there, and all these alleyways and stuff. And when you look closely,
the construction of them are just phenomenal. I mean, and the layout. This is meant to be done by simple people, but they are built to last, and of a sort of a grandeur that we just cannot do today. Despite our best efforts, it takes us tens of years to repair sections of these things that they seemingly built in short order.
It's the effort they put into the buildings, They've thought out everything, literally everything, angles, beauty, craftsmanship, there's a lot. You can just see it,
But today also, as I said, that meeting that couple, Lucy and John, that was inspirational because, it's the people like this that are starting to get more willing to get out and do something in their local area. And I reminded her of the recent success of those guys meeting up in America, to do a bit of a group activism session.
Yeah.
And I know there's others going on that we don't even get to hear about, but it's worth celebrating them all and giving people a bit of recommendation, acknowledgement for that they're putting in. Because we were remarking how the Jehovah's Witnesses, we see them regularly in all the different cities that we go through. And that's how it is that they're they know they have to cover the ground in order to kind of meet, get a lot of people to see this stuff. Because someone was asking us, why the homeless guy, the guy who's made himself homeless the last 6 years, he was saying, why don't I see any of this in the media? Did you hear that?
I didn't see it at the time, but I heard about it later on. It's a bit sort of...
it's like, he's so far out of the system, and yet he would still expect to hear this stuff. He was of that kind of school of thought that these things are too big to hide.
Yeah, which for somebody who's kind of hit rock bottom, you wouldn't have an ounce of trust in the system, surely.
Well, I don't know that he'd hit rock bottom so much as he's actually chosen to live in a particular way. He does a bit of work on the land, I guess, in the summertime more, and
Yeah.
He just makes his way around without having burdens, and that's
You wouldn't think he'd
quite
have a
heavy.
connection to mainstream as such.
No, but even the most tattooed, out of kind of
Yeah.
society kind of guys that I've ever met, like them, you think this guy is definitely gonna, he's gonna get it. He's gonna be willing to see that we've been that level deceived, but even
Yeah.
they still have that kind of deeper inset built programming that keeps them in that kind of, the system is still, inherently good and, doing the right thing and would tell us these things if they were.
Yeah.
Or as the policeman told me outside of, was it Luxembourg, the policeman at that official affair, he said, the army or the military or the government have to keep secrets because the people can't know everything.
Can't know everything, right? Yeah.
This is something that I used to parrot, that
Yeah.
there's a need for secrecy and a level and so on. But
And we need order and all that. Yeah.
it's that secrecy that is used to contain us and constrain us from knowing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be great to be able to show you guys some clips from today, because I know that we all had some cracking conversations. But as Jack said, it was predominantly like a flyer day. That's what he called it, and I think we gave out about 1,000 flyers in total today.
1,000 flyers in total. So not only did we have lots of good conversations, but the flyers went.
They
well.
flew out of our hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have enough myself, but
I was handing them out in onesies because I knew the whole thing would go. So I kept on reaching over to Lucy and grabbing one while I was holding the camera, and
yeah. I had a little bit of time out off the front line today, I have to admit, because I needed to spend a little bit of time with Andrew and Alexander. They're well, but they just needed a bit of time to get back, find our way back to the camper van and stuff, and it was over a kilometre away from where we were activising.
Bit of a walk, and it's like all of it like this, isn't it? Little narrow streets and.
But for me personally, I had like some deeper conversations that I find is resonating. And what was it you said? Because you heard some of these conversations now over the last few days, and you said that kind of resonates with you too.
The approach in terms of talking about the divinity of people and that sort of thing, expressing the fact that not only is this all by design, but there is some uniqueness or total uniqueness about each and every one of us. That's something that resonated with me, because it's something that I often hear yourself talking about. Although I tend to come from the more sort of...
Yeah, so I've had hundreds of these conversations with people now, and I know what I see in the people's eyes.
Right, exactly.
And I know now how often it's happened for me where I'm having this conversation with someone and I take them on that journey in their minds. It opens, the eyes widen, and the focus on what I'm saying intensifies. That I become conscious of them being totally absorbed in what I'm saying. I was like, wow, this is really resonating with this person, and that's hugely rewarding. But I feel that surely has to be the point of Flat Earth, not to become just the Earth is flat, but there's something so much more.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And I haven't heard myself say NASA costs. The reason is because NASA costs you $50 million a day. I haven't heard myself say that.
No.
It's like I'm moving on from it's about the money to it's about the spirit, and it's about the soul, and it's about the higher things that have been hidden from us and that have been poo-pooed and have been, turned into some kind of dishwater rather than the awesome magnificence that this divinity story is meant to be.
And the more I've been hearing that being said, the more I'm actually feeling that as well, which is important, because that helps you then get the message over once you're aware of that, rather than just reeling it off a list of flat Earth facts.
Because why it matters to me, if we're paying, hundreds of billions in taxes, in total, and someone says 50 million, it doesn't necessarily resonate with people, and it's like, well, what the fuck can we do about another 50 million tax? We're all just under the cosh, and we just keep paying that extra 10 cents in, which all adds up to that million, whatever, but when it becomes about the you and the what you can do for yourself and your own kind of then that seems to kind of mean something, you know.
Yeah,
'Cause this
absolutely.
is something you can affect yourself.
And also, you can gain a certain quality of life that you didn't have before. Is my experience.
Well.
I'm experienced an immense sort of surge of positivity through that knowledge, and also the fact that I'm not alone in feeling that way. I'm learning also how to express myself as well, to try and make myself more understandable rather than waste your time trying to explain it to somebody and they might not even get your gist or something like that. So that takes practice.
Cool. Well, we're all practicing.
We're all practicing, yeah.
Trying to raise our game, you know, and it's an ongoing journey. There's no kind of like, oh well, it's all a done deal and stuff. But
no, not.
You know, we hope to be progressed from a year ago, and in a year's time, hope to be moved on further in terms of our inner standing and our
absolutely
kind of our way.
Yeah.
I need to pull up those 7 heavenly virtues. You know, I won't do it. Oh, okay, I suppose I could do it now.
Well, in the meantime, I'll have a quick look here.
Why don't you give some shout out to the chat room?
That's what I'm doing.
Thanks for
now.
stopping by, folks. We
I'll just
appreciate
scroll up
your
because
support. Thumbs up the show and the tour. Fantastic effort by Jason, Roxanne, and Robin, and all the others in the background that are pulling together to make this happen. And also to the people who've been, you know, repeatedly digging into their pockets and finding a little bit of extra coinage for the support of this tour. It is an ongoing, honestly, moving around Europe is an expensive business these days. Yesterday we spent 120 pounds, 120 euro on toll charges alone, driving from Paris to
3 stretches of road.
Bordeaux, three tolls, and they came to 120 euros. If I got that right. So, you know, and the fuel is not cheap. Yeah, actually, it's like €1.80 per liter, and this bus of ours is a thirsty girl. She's quite we go to the petrol station quite often. So you know, to say that the contributions have been awesome, but they kind of have to continue in some form in order to keep this thing rolling. So that being said, I was gonna get.
I'll take a look and see who's on here.
Yeah.
Good evening to Flatball. Evening to Vertec. Nice to see you on here, mate. Ute, how you doing, buddy?
Ute.
We have Karen and Preston also. Good evening to you. Dr. La, hello. And we have Ricardo, of course. How you doing, Ricardo? Hope things are fine.
How you going, buddy?
Karen and Preston I've already mentioned. Josh Jack Flat Earth, good evening to you. Robin lifting the lid, of course. Very good evening to you, sir.
Hey, Robin.
Comrado.
Thanks.
Hi, mate. UK 2222. James, good evening to you, my friend.
Hi, James. Thanks again for all your work.
Yeah, and hopefully we can make use of that little prelude thing from today at some stage. That would be nice. Brian Stabley, how are you doing, buddy?
Hi, Brian.
And Robin I've already mentioned. And if we scroll on down, Jude, how you doing, my darling? Hope everything's okay. Jason, of course, of the Disbury family. Good evening to you, sir. Nice of you to pop by.
Thanks, and hopefully we're holding up your show reasonably well. Obviously, we've got big shoes to fill there with Roxanne herself. Be missing.
Angie Escovedo, good evening to you. Telex, good evening. Kimmy Spreadborough, I don't even know if I'm saying these names correctly, but if I'm not, apologies, but I'm sure you know who you are. Amanda, my darling, good evening to you. Nice to see you.
Hi, Amanda.
Plague Zero, good evening. And we're pretty much almost through, I think. Gary, John, Heather, good evening to you. Nice of you all to be here. And yeah, Landvest, hi there. And Micah Smith, horizontally opposed. Good evening. And that is about it. If I've missed anybody, then apologies, but that's sort of the general thing that I have in front of me right now.
Wow.
And just to reiterate what Dave was saying, many thanks for all the contributions that have come in up to now. It's so vitally important, you know. I mean, the money has gone so quickly, and you don't feel like you've really done much, and that's no lie. You know, you'd have to be here to see it, but it just goes on everything. You know, tolls, petrol, you know, food. I mean, we keep it to a minimum, really. We're not starving, by the way. We're fine. But what I'm saying is, it's no, you know.
Well, the biggest cost is the tolls and the petrol.
Yeah,
really. That's
the tolls
by
and the
far
petrol.
the biggest cost.
Yeah, it's the driving around that's the actual. We're not expensive. It's this machine, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Relatively speaking,
The
that's
parking today was a bit expensive.
parking today was pricey, wasn't it?
Parking. Yeah. How much did we pay?
Well,
for that?
actually, no. We only end up because of the way we did it. We ended up only paying €20.
Right.
It's another $20.
Evening, Roxanne. I've just
Hey,
seen you
Roxanne.
now as well. How are you doing?
Um.
And Coffee Paul. Good evening to you, sir.
All right, mate. So the seven heavenly virtues are faith, hope, charity. Is that it? No. Charity, temperance. Temperance is a good one. Chastity. Okay. Diligence, patience, kindness, and humility or humbleness. So these are the things that it seems to me are. There's also like the four cardinal virtues, which perhaps I'll read out another time. But these are good things for us to strive towards, because if this flat Earth is meant to come out, it's surely meant to come out as a prelude to us realizing we're on a created system, and that system has a process that is going to play out, and we need to become knowers, KNOWERS, knowers of our own ark, and prepare our ark for this thing, you know, that nature will bring, this cycle that will come out. And it seems to me like preparing the ark, which is moving towards the seven heavenly virtues. So I'll read them again quickly. It's chastity, temperance, charity, diligence, patience, kindness, and humility. You know, I guess I'm always, trying to focus on being more like that, more of that, and less of the seven deadly sins.
Yeah, I would agree. And a lot of that was present today.
We have to become more. This has to be our clarion call to becoming more than we have been, because we all have been born into this prison, and the only way for us to change the prison is to change ourselves. And the more people we change, the more people who are given the knowledge that helps them to change in the positive way, the more we achieve this, I think, this purpose of why Flat Earth is so important, and why it's a foundational truth upon which all knowledge of our true history or our true reality will be kind of written, or is come from.
Absolutely. That's why I also suggest that it's key. It's key to pretty much everything else, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my kind of thoughts on why it matters. I have many more thoughts on why it matters. Jack, did you want to say anything about today? Lisa's, I think, gone to sleep. She's feeling a little bit unwell, throat a bit sore. Hopefully she'll be feeling better in the morning. Sorry, Jack?
Lovely.
Loving? You loved it?
Lovely, yeah.
Jack says he loved it. It was lovely. So yeah, that was our day at in Bordeaux. I mean, it's a beautiful city and one that would be wonderful to be able to walk around and explore. And if you've ever been there, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So rich in ancient, steeped in ancient history. Beautiful and impressive.
Absolutely.
So yeah, tomorrow I guess we're well, this evening we were driving towards our next destination, which is Madrid.
Yep, and we have a 7-hour drive ahead of us.
7 hours.
7 hours from here to Madrid. Madrid is quite deep into the country. I say quite deep, it's in Madrid. Well, Madrid is in Spain, I mean, that's where it should be, but it's a 7-hour drive.
Wow.
So that's what Jack said very reliably earlier. So
Jack's very impressive at the wheel.
so we need to take our time on that one, which gives us tomorrow to sort of do that.
Tomorrow's a down day for us. We've got no booked activism as such. No one's expecting us to be anywhere. But we're meeting up with Howard George Stirrup on the next day, which is what day would that be?
He's coming
That's the 14th.
14th, it's 12 today, isn't it? What day is it
it's
today?
2 days hence. We'll be in Madrid. That'll be Thursday.
Thursday.
So Thursday we'll be in Madrid, and with Howard, who's impressive in the street activism. He's been with me at Speaker's Corner and done a little bit of time with the wonderful Harry of John Smith Global Eye. So, and he's the guy who offered 10,000 euros on Spanish TV for anyone that could prove curvature. And he's still holding on to that money. I think So he's going to join us from Thursday for a while. And he's a Spanish speaker, so will give us that edge in Spain, because it really does help having a
So
local lingo person on board, because there are people who will speak English and can understand what you're talking about, but there are also those people who do stop, and you've just got to let them go, because you can't speak to them. They don't understand you, and there's only so far sign language will go. So you hopefully that the websites will lead them to something. But hey ho, that's
we still did a fine job, I thought, today.
Yeah,
I thought
we had ambitions to go a little bit earlier than we did today. We set ourselves a bit of a target, but for various reasons we didn't go as early as we wanted to. But I think it was as early as usual. Maybe a little earlier. But we're going to strive to go a little bit earlier in future, if we can, just to go a little bit longer. But also, as the nights are drawing in, I guess we need to try and do some of the action a little earlier in the day in order to get 4 or 5 hours on site.
So when you hit sort of 5 o'clock towards 6 o'clock, it's kind of over, isn't it? In terms of light.
Yeah.
So
Hey, so I was wondering if anyone in the chat room had any questions for the bus.
I think Jason tried calling. So Jason, if you're listening,
oh, sorry, Jason.
I kind of got rid of your call without even realising who it was. I just declined because it was ringing. So if you want to call again, I'll answer it.
That's very nice of you.
Well, I try my best. I have my moments,
You do. Sven, you've been actually really good. Sven's been really good in the field, and Jack was amazing today. He was just saying Lisa was fantastic on the stand, and Sven's doing great. Really getting into the swing of it. But that couple that came in today, that it was lovely to have their contribution. I've got to remark on that again. Lucy and John, thank you. They seem like one of those couples. Sorry. Oh, hey, Jason.
Jason, is that you, mate?
It is, it most certainly is. I thought I can't let you guys sit there all by yourselves all night. I'll have to join in and just put my take on things.
Nice. Can you guys hear Jason when he's talking through that?
I can speak loudly if you
No,
want.
I'm just going to get some feedback from...
We'll bring this closer as well.
Yeah, we'll bring that a bit closer.
You go ahead and give us your feedback.
Yeah,
It's
give us your
nice
feedback.
to hear from the outside.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Oh God, I'm on call this week, so it's a difficult week for me now. I'm very busy, and hence I just wanted to tell everyone this is why we thought we'd try something different, and the guys were up for it, and so this is why we're not doing the Roxanne Globalist Denier tonight. What's it, Sven and Dave have stepped up, so to speak. So thank you very much, guys, for that. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm shattered. I really am shattered. Yeah. I did over 2,000 miles over the weekend from Friday to Sunday. And then went straight on to being on call. So amazing. I'm just shattered.
Yeah. We'll keep it nice and tight tonight. So.
I had an announcement. I did actually put it in the chat before. And my announcement is. I managed to secure my holiday for Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and to the remainder of the tour right at the end.
Wow.
So, look, guys, can you put up with me? And I don't mind going in the garage.
We'd love to have you on board, Jason. That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. I managed to get my holiday, and I'm kind of looking forward to getting back on the bus. But I know sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelmingly cramped in the bus. We need next time if we ever do this, we do need a 10-berth bus.
Double decker.
A double decker,
A double decker, yeah.
A double decker. Yeah, definitely.
One of those bendy double deckers.
I will be working. As I say, that's Denmark, Copenhagen starts on Friday, the 29th of November. I haven't got that day off. My day off is Saturday, so I'm working on trying to get the Friday as well. So watch this space. I might be able to make Denmark. Fingers crossed. There's a lot of day offs on that trip because there's some big journeys. So, but I'm up for it if you guys are up for it. Sven, you probably would have left us by then, or not. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, probably with a small pea, perhaps. Possibly, I would say. Possibly.
Yeah, well, whatever. Yes. I think it's fitting that you finish the tour, Jason. It'd really be nice for you to be able to do that, my friend. Because you've put in a tireless, incredible effort, much respect and kudos. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah. So, that'd be great.
We need to, the next step was for us to sit down because the tour will be finishing on Sunday, the 8th of December, and it's still not kind of finalised exactly how that finale will be finishing. It will be finishing, we will be doing Speaker's Corner. But in the night time, I'm trying to propose something that we go off, finish the tour with a bang, so to speak.
Yeah.
Bordeaux was the first country that I ever went to in France. It was I went hitchhiking there as a young lad, and it was the first place that I got to, and ended up at the British consulate trying to get me home as a 16-year-old kid who managed to get there by hitchhiking and ran out of money.
Wow. So.
I've got to say, I think Bordeaux is a fabulous place. I said it yesterday when I was in the van. Coming here, it just felt for me very, very familiar. And even today, I just got good vibes. Even the people I thought were smashing. The cafe we went to earlier for dinner was fantastic, friendly. Not too uber extravagant, but nice, neat, clean, good people, really.
Yeah.
You went with who was it? Lucy and John.
Yeah, they said we'd like to buy you guys dinner.
Yeah, they bought us dinner.
Yeah. So, thanks to them again for that.
Yeah, thanks for them as well. And if they're watching this stream, which they said they might well do, if Amanda would be so kind as to put the Discord link in because they would like to hook up with us on Discord, they said.
Yeah.
so as we can keep the contact for future meetups and things
Yeah.
of that kind.
Lucy may be in the chat now if she got back to her hotel and
Exactly.
got charged up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So he said they were going
Well,
to keep an eye on it.
if you're not watching, Lucy, I give you my love. You were amazing. I'm so glad I got to meet you. And it was good to actually see see them out on the streets today.
Yeah.
They were fantastic. They really got stuck in, didn't they?
Yeah, they got stuck in. They were very enthusiastic about it, you know. And even afterwards, when we chatted with them, it was all hands to the oar, so to speak. And we were just talking about the day, and the feedback from them was well, it was positive, wasn't it? They enjoyed it.
oh, they really
You know.
enjoyed it. They were like totally, you know, this was really worth it for them.
Yeah.
As I said, they took out a whole sort of little weekend break, but it was worth it for them, and they'll be doing some more. They're hoping to set up with some guy in Lyon, with a face, as we suggested, setting up a Facebook group for French flat Earth people or globe types.
Yeah.
You know, because again, it needs to be the local language. We lose so much in translation.
Yeah.
And you know, for people to be able to really go for it, and be able to, you know, really do what we do best in English, then, you know, local people make a big difference. So
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Stefan about that as well and do something in German,
yeah,
because Stefan is a bit of a computer nerd. They're his own words, by the way, not mine. And so that would be another good way to stay in touch, would be to set something like that up in German, and you know, and have things like that going on as well. You know, I mean, there are so many sort of things. That's just the local aircraft carrier just went past.
Sorry, I
and
just-
few jet fighters were landing at the same time. Yeah. So you know, this is a great way. This is a great way to get people connected in so many ways and on so many levels. Everybody can participate, and it doesn't have to be a cash donation, although we need that for the trip.
yeah.
But there are also other ways of participating, and everyone's got a skill set. Everybody. You
Well,
know,
yeah, and this tour is also meant to spark activity, you know, and action,
Yeah.
you know. So beyond the camper van, there is more action being spawned, and I think this was a great example of that. And I really hope that they're able to, you know, get a little group community together and maybe do some events, you know, get together at a camping site, and then maybe go to the local town with a flyer or two or a banner, something like that, you know. So it doesn't take much, and it's these little fires that'll turn into, you know, a bushfire of knowledge spreading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I can't help whoever wants to get involved and they want to create their own banners and that. I can't. If you like my kind of template of how they're presented, then I can easily give you that template, and then you can just fill in your own pictures, or I can help you. Print them out. I think it works out that they're about. I think it's about £35 per side. So you know, like for the double banner, £70.
Yeah.
And then you just got to find your own stand. I can help with all that. If anyone who's interested, you know, I've helped quite a few people in the past, and it's all about just helping each other and trying to get this message out there.
Yeah, on the banners thing, you know, if people who know this product might know of other types of banners that we could use that would be more lightweight. Because if groups of people are going out with tons of gear, it can be a little bit. I just wonder if there isn't some lighter weight solutions, because you know, it would be easier, more accessible for more people to be able to do that. Because you know, we've got a couple of lads. You know, Jack is a couple of lads all by himself, but you know, between us we're quite a few, and we're dragging out quite a heavy kit on your own. It's almost impossible to do.
Yeah. It was always about the wind consideration, you know, because when you're presenting a banner, then you know, like it becomes a sail, a kite.
Yeah.
You know, like so, the wind wants to take it off somewhere. But a lightweight solution, critical inception had his little bamboo or sticks and that, and he made a really good lightweight setup. It looked fantastic, and I'm sure it was really lightweight. It's just on a banner that size, 6 foot by 6 foot, like it needs something sturdy to hold it down,
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose I'm up for many ideas. If anyone's got any solutions on that,
Yeah.
it'd be good to make it lightweight.
All right. Well, it's just one of those things that they don't always have to be such big banners, and certainly flyers are a great entree to people. And some people have come up with the idea of, well, Josh uses it, Authentic Intent uses a flip chart system that he can refer people to images and certain evidences that make it easier, because
Yes.
pictorially you can make a big difference. And I think Dave Murphy was saying this himself when he was out here, that to have some sort of iPad presentation or thing, or pictures to scroll through, but something simple like the flip chart works, and actually perhaps in the local language. That would be like a great administrative development for a future thing, would be to be able to kind of present some of the information in the local language.
Yeah, that was always the plan. I always wanted to do that, like different banners for different countries and leaflets and that.
Technically a nightmare.
It just turned out that, well, we just couldn't afford it in the end, because all of this needed to be created before we had funding, and there was no money available for it.
Yeah, it's nice.
But yeah, I mean, like on the next door, it'd be nice to see if we can do such a thing.
Just a bit of learning as we're going along on this.
Yeah, we
journey.
can always tweak something here and there, can't we? That's how we progress, and make it a bit more comfortable for future tours or future.
Well, yeah, just to
Yes.
It just makes it easier on people.
Yeah.
A little bit. That's all. But that's the learning curve.
Let me make an announcement then. Look, the funding has so far it's ceased at the moment. It's stopped at the moment. Ever since we had this large donation from Mark Sargent, and thank you very much, Mark. And that I think people might think that maybe I've thought that we might have enough to reach the goal. We're really not there yet, although it helped, and we've got a long way, and we've still got a little tiny bit left in the kitty, but I can see it going down quite fast. Like as you mentioned before about the tolls and that, and who was it who named her Bertie? Bertie's drinking quite a lot.
Yeah, she sure is. Thirsty girl.
No, we do need to start. Thirsty. Yeah, we do need to start rejuvenating the donation aspect somehow. I think it's an important topic to address, because this can't go on forever if we don't. Well, it's not going on forever, but it won't reach its destination if we don't at least have a trickle of donations coming in to keep it maintained, just the basic level of petrol and tolls.
Yeah, but this is such an important thing, This really is. Sorry, Jason, go on.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, I was just going to say, what are we talking about now? So we're only talking about 3 weeks or so now. We've nearly completed Globe Light Euro Tour 2019, and it can only get better if we can finish this tour with and finish it without too much effort, even though it has been a massive effort. Last year it was very scary. We hit zero quite a few times on the funding, but this year, we haven't gone down to zero. You guys have kept the donations coming in, and kept us away from the red, most of the time. So it looks like if we can just finish this tour, next year could only get better and better and better. But we've got to show what a success this tour is. We're nearly there. It's 3 weeks to go. It's nearly done.
Yeah. It's still a lot of long.
Sorry, what you were able to do?
That's all right. No, it's a lot of long driving still to do, but we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll be able to go live for longer on stand, and and I guess we'll just try to encourage people through the course of our activism days to drop a little fiver in the tin, because they know, if they're watching, that this is vital to the purpose of this. This is much more than this physical world. This is something much more. It's metaphysical. It's beyond this material clinging to possessions and so on. I understand that everyone needs a home, or a place they can call home, but we also have this much bigger mission or purpose, I think, and that is to share this truth about the place we live in and who we are in it, and how we should be seeking to become the knower and raise our vibration.
Yeah.
So that's why it matters. That's why it's so important for us to continue this, to inspire more people to do this, and for it to be a stepping stone to whatever's coming in 2020. However that's going to unfold. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share this.
Right, I'm going to leave you guys.
Share this. Yeah, share this and
Sorry.
share this and and encourage people to get involved in activism and encourage them to support this tour. Thank you.
Yeah. Jason, did you want to get off? Did you?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. Because I'm enjoying actually sitting back and actually listening to you guys. So I'm gonna call it a night. Sit back and listen to you. And I've only managed to get through 2 hours of your mammoth 4.5 hour stream. So I've done 2 hours so far, and I'd like to finish the rest of that as well this evening before I go to bed.
Oh, nice.
Because no doubt only. You're not on tomorrow, are you? You've got your. He used to miff Dave Murphy off when he used to say, "You're having a day off tomorrow, aren't you?" But it's not quite a day off, is it?
No, we've got the 7-hour drive tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you tell. I've told Jack, no, not a lot of driving. You can't be doing that all. Because he'll do that tonight, and get you there for a day off.
No, I think
you got to tell him not too much driving.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah, of course. Well, we'll obviously look forward to being back on stream and giving you guys some little snippets. I think in your Discord you've been dropping some little jewels, little moments of behind the scenes action.
And I've just seen it. Amanda, thank you very much, has posted the link to the Discord, which is good. We've got over 150 people in there now, which is excellent for the last couple of weeks, and it's a good way to stay connected. Yesterday I was able to upload some photographs and show them where we were and talk to them on Discord and give them a nice sort of all-rounded view on the vibe of the city and what we had planned the next day and all that sort of stuff. It was a good way of connecting. So yeah,
Awesome.
But Jason, if you need to get off, you get off, and we'll.
Yeah, I do.
Well,
Thank
you
Sven.
don't
Thank
want
you,
to.
Dave.
You don't want to listen to us yabbering, do you? We could call it quits here.
Yeah,
anyway.
no. I'll shut the Skype, and then I'll listen and to you guys, because you've always got pearls of wisdom there, so I enjoy listening to you, Dave. Not so much that other guy. I mean, how do you know him anyway, then, Dave?
That is the big question.
That is the big question. How do you know each
How do
other?
we really know each other?
How do you know each other?
There's
Social
something-
media.
something-
Catch you later, guys.
See you later,
Cheers,
Jason.
Jason.
Take it easy. Bye bye.
Well, how about that? Jason of the Disbury family calling in on his own channel.
Yeah, that's
That
modern
is
technology
a
for
pretty
you.
unique moment in YouTube viewing history.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good.
But it'd be interesting to know in the chat room whether people are feeling like there is more energy around with that people are willing to hear, new information more, or whether they're still struggling to communicate flat Earth and stuff to people.
I think the vibe I'm getting is that there are quite a few newcomers who know basic good stuff in flat Earth, but I think they would like more of that again. To just that's why I've always gone on about the Discord, because we've got all the old videos in there of all the top channels, including yourself. But it's all
that's
in
not
there.
Trinity 4, is it?
Yeah, but how does 3 and 4 work? I don't know, but anyway, and so that way people have got access straight to these videos. I don't have to search through YouTube and slalom them way through all the algorithm traps. They can just come straight to Discord, boom, and they can look at all your videos, for example, going right back to however long you've posted them on your channel.
Well, that would be time consuming. There's quite a few hours of content on there.
But we just had the links to everybody's channel, and that's it. And they go on yours and do whatever they do, for example. But it's a good way for newcomers to. I regard myself as a relative newcomer, but I'm passionate about what I know. But the others, there are some who are still lacking a little bit in the confidence to be able to portray their enthusiasm for it because they're unsure a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I was always snagged by the whole thing about throwing the ball up and down in a moving car. You know what I mean? How does that work? Well, of course the plane won't spin with the earth and all that. That was the one little thing, and then I realised, okay, that's closed.
Yeah.
And that's why that works. Yeah.
Well, enclosed system.
Enclosed
I
system.
love it when people offer me that. I go, oh, so we're on the same page then. I also say it's an enclosed system, just like your plane or your car or your train.
Exactly. You're not going to get any friction from the air or anything like that.
But I noticed that's what Lucy and John said today, that having people around them who do, who've already done this before.
Yeah.
It gave them the confidence to stand there and do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we need to support each other more.
Absolutely.
Is if you've done some activism and you can get other people to come with you, then other people will be more inclined to participate in that.
Absolutely.
Because there's the strength in numbers, and doing activism on your own, like Josh does out in the States, and Harry does, is it's quite daunting. I have to say.
It is daunting. It's daunting when two people disappear for 5 minutes and you're suddenly stood there on your Todd.
Oh, is that what happened to you today, Sven?
Not really, but it felt like it.
If you need to cry about.
No. I packed my violin for today. It's all right. It's in the cupboard. It's down underneath all the. Yeah, no, it was. You know what I mean, though. It's. I always don my cap to people like our friend who we just spoke about, and people like that flat fellow, and these guys who go out and just come up with great ideas to put a stall up, for example, offer free pennies to buy stuff. You know what I mean?
That was a great idea.
Great ideas like that. Resourceful thinking. Creative thinking, and that's what you want more of.
Yeah.
And that's great. And everybody can do a bit of activism somehow, whether it's within the family, in a shop, or whatever.
Well, one of the journeys of activism is for me anyway, and I think it applies to other people, but not everybody necessarily. Is that when you go out there and start doing it, you're kind of can be drawn into being confrontational about this situation, and we know already before we go into it that we're going to encounter people for whom this information is so dissonant that they will argue till they're blue in the face, and things can escalate and so on. And I think the more I do it, the more I've learned to avoid a lot of that escalation and avoid getting into a kind of sense that this is needs to be some kind of conflict of wits and will, because I'm talking to someone who's under a deep spell.
Yeah.
And they can't be expected to see through that or hear what you're saying, or not necessarily react in a way that is particularly nice, like that guy shining the torch in my face the other night.
Yeah, for example, yeah.
That was, and that was an expression of his deep anger, or that his belief system was being called into question.
Yeah, absolutely. He wasn't having any of it with that activity that he.
Yeah. So, but when you go out and do activism, and especially like in Speaker's Corner, and say even in the street today, there are people who they're preloaded with flat Earth now, and they know that flat Earth is out there, and they've already watched 5 debunking videos, and they've got their arguments against flat Earth lined up, and they want to come at you. You got to learn the compassion, and as Andrea said, to kind of be talking to their higher self rather than to the ego self that is enraptured by this belief of heliocentrism and gravitational attraction, leading to balls attracting water and men walking underneath it. No, they're not really walking underneath. They're on top. And oh my gosh, we live on a flat plane. We exist in some kind of flat enclosed system.
Yeah, and like I was saying to one chap who couldn't understand it. He was looking at the AE map that's on there, but he was getting the the angle of it wrong, and I was trying to explain to him, okay, forget it's even circular. Let's just say it's a body of water with landmass in the middle, and it's surrounded by ice walls. It doesn't necessarily have to be round. That's just a model to give you an idea of how it would work. You know what I mean? And I was trying to explain to him that's the top of it, so to speak. There.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what about the underneath? Is that space?
Yeah.
And it's, you know what I mean? It's all very difficult
Yeah.
to explain. Hence, the flip chart is a good idea.
But then also by that point you're kind of lost in them needing to disprove a model
Yeah. Exactly,
rather than which is only a model, and of course it has unknown elements to it, as to the way it's supported, where it ends, what hangs underneath it, or if there's any such thing as an underneath in this reality in that sense. We don't know. And so we're offering a model for people's minds to kind of go to, but to fight that model without having really examined the so-called model, of which there's no working version, of a globe spinning around this thing with water attracted to it, like mosquitoes to flies to a corpse or a turd.
Yeah.
Globe-shaped,
a globe turd.
Turd, yeah.
Yeah, a globe-shaped turd. But what
But
about
they're all walking underneath happily.
Yeah.
It's just absolute bollocks.
Yeah, of course it is. It's ludicrous, and the ludicrous thing about it is the suggestion is that we're the ludicrous ones, and I think that's the problem with a lot of people. It doesn't matter how brilliant the model would be, they're going in with that idea of, well, whatever you're going to show me, I'm going to bat it straight back to you with,
And that's fine. You've got to realize that that's the nature of their program, and you don't need to get stuck in that. Rather, reverse back to some of the basics about, these are the things that we can test for ourselves. When Howard joins us in 2 days' time, you'll see his style of delivery is quick fire, blah, 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 blah. These are the things that you can test for yourself. And I think there's a real value sometimes in just bringing people to that, because you're not going to get them to and there's so much of the divine story. They just don't want to let go of their atheism or their scientism of, heliocentric kind of a Big Bang cosmology with a twist of evolution.
With a twist of evolution.
How about that guy today who was telling me he believed in evolution because he'd seen the fused bone of a horse foot where there used to be a separate toe that became fused over time. And I didn't think to say this, which I have done before, which is that there are examples of micro evolution, or little bits of minor changes of the proboscis or something like that because of differing conditions for an animal. But there's no examples of meta change.
No.
Speciation, I think is what they call it. Just the
speciation.
The variations, minor variations in a species as it moves into a different climate, for example.
Or a colour.
And then he brought up Neanderthal bones, which I've generally come to accept do really exist. Neanderthal bones. People may have a different view. I haven't maybe looked into this enough, but for me, Neanderthal bones are possibly skeletons of pre-humans, or pre-whatever flood whatever mud flood or whatever extinction events or wipeout events that occurred, and to bring about different epochs. Is it possible that these bones are from the previous round of people that were here before us, the bigger people who could build bigger things,
or from a different realm that we haven't discovered yet, who have popped over here? And
well, I mean, these are the sorts of things that you can kind of be willing to discuss and keep on the table. You don't have to say that's how it is.
No,
it's just
good to talk about.
Yeah, and this is what when it comes to specifying how the nature of our world is that once you've cleared your mind of, it has to be this heliocentric Big Bang universe. Now you can be the scientist who has a completely new school of thought based on a flat Earth cosmology and a flat Earth super dome or super environment in which everything exists. We can now speculate as much as we used to speculate over the nature of Andromeda and new galaxies that were forming and all this sort of hoo-ha. We'd speculate over these strings of star bodies. I mean, I used to be so caught up in all that CGI hoopla. We speculate over that quite happily, and now it's nice to be able to speculate over what our reality is, and
Something
take
that's real,
this-
yeah.
and take the science, the good science that's coming out over, things like electromagnetic fields and ferrocells and stuff like that, to kind of meld the best of that kind of science to what we think. This is all part of where we're able to allow our minds to run now that we're free of, the ball programming.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The liberation is unbeatable. The feeling of liberation is quite something.
Well, I said it to a few lads today, a few people today. Like it's the releasing of the mind to, I don't know, maybe to achieve some kind of to achieve that higher self, achieve that higher self, and in so doing, you tend towards those 7 heavenly virtues, and that's where you take yourself by choice, of course, always by choice.
Yeah.
And well, I guess what more can one ask for in this existence but to strive for that higher self?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I think perhaps on that note we could call it quits.
We could call it quits. I'll just
long enough.
do a quick double check to see if anybody else was here that had any particular question. Nothing that I can detect. And if I've missed something, then I apologise. But
we should say thank you for coming by and
thank you very much for coming by, and thank you very much for listening to our us sharing our experience of the day and other things as well, and also that we don't keep our eye off the what we spoke about earlier, which was the donations, that we sort of keep our eye on that a little bit and don't let that slip too far. Is my worth reiterating. That's all.
And there's a PayPal link which more of the money, all of the money goes pretty much to the tour rather than through some of the other channels. So use that if you can. Thanks for your support. Don't forget to thumbs up. We'll see you in a couple of days.
Yes.
Some updates in between.
Yeah.
We'll be looking for a big day in Madrid.
And I'll be putting stuff up on the vlog as well tomorrow and all that. So we shall see you very, very soon. And thank you for tuning in, so to speak.
Yeah. What do they say in Spain? Au revoir. Is that what, in France.
They say in France.
Huh? Au revoir.
Au revoir, yeah.
Au revoir.
Bon nuit.
Ah, bon nuit.